And we're starting off with a banger here. Alex playing Maverick, Jordy playing Gruul Lance. Two very good players, two very interesting players, I should say. Alex is what I would describe as like the fun stepdad of Haarlem Magic. Whatever that means. I like how it sounds though, so I'm gonna stick with it. Jordy is like the fun uncle of Legacy here in Haarlem, so should be interesting match. Two very good players, both on probably their best decks. Oh no, for Jordy it is. Alex, I think too, right? I mean, Alex plays a bunch of decks, and he's pretty good at most of them. There are a few. I don't want to say stinkers, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault. But Maverick is definitely one of, if not his best deck. So it should be a pretty good match to start us off with. Been a while since we saw Alex on the channel, so not sure what happened there. Alex starting us off with a bunch of Hierarchs, a Gaia's Cradle, and now going for a Greensun's Zenith. X is 1. You're already getting a bit of land hate going. Would have probably loved to use that Wasteland on the Gaia's Cradle instead of the Bayou, but maybe if Jordy ends up with some creature removal, maybe if Jordy ends up with a lot of creature removal, then that Gaia's Cradle is gonna look a little less spectacular. Of course, Alex correctly recognizing that being reliant on Gaia's Cradle for mana is probably not the thing you want to be doing in, well, any matchup, really. Maybe control. Maybe. Oh, not control, combo. What am I talking about? Let's see, forest for Jordy here. I'm not gonna get got by any wastelands from Alex's side. Life from the Loam. Gonna start generating all the value. Really just the lifeblood of a deck like Lance. It's 2 mana, draw 3. Oh, actually, no, it's better than that, isn't it? Because you can actually kind of pick and choose the things you're picking up. Assuming you're able to fill your graveyard, which Life from them also helps in doing. Bit of a interesting start of the game here. Very creature heavy already. Endurance is going to get rid of the Loam. Shuffling one card and then putting it on the bottom. Questing Beast being cast here off the Gaia's Cradle. That thing putting in work right now. Already at 13. Questing Beast and 2 Exalted triggers. It's a pretty fast clock. Sure. Now, Jordy is not out of it yet. He did lose some speed here. Alex very nicely managing to play around that wasteland that Jordy had. Now, Jordy is in a bit of a pickle, because he can wasteland the Gaia's Cradle, but I don't think he's really in a position at that point. I do think he is holding Exploration, so he could start getting something else going, maybe? Question is what? What did you get going at this point? I think there's a Valakut Exploration as well. Another great addition from, what is that? That's Zendikar Rising? Yeah, it is. Valakut Exploration, just a fantastic addition to this deck. Landfall trigger is very relevant if you're already playing Exploration. Then it allows you to play lands that you find, which is relevant. It's a bit of extra damage, which can help close out games. And even if you don't play the cards, they still go to the graveyard, so you can just loan them back. Just every single piece of text on that card feels like it was designed for a deck like Lands. It's pretty amazing, actually. But seems like maybe not amazing enough when your opponent has a bunch of beaters staring you down. Now, you already did get rid of the Gaia's Cradle, but again, Alex doesn't really need the Cradle at this point. He has the threat, he has the clock. Jordy needs to do something next turn or it is done. A Thalia coming down for Alex. That's potentially going to be a bit of a problem. So I'm thinking, what could Jordy have here that would get him out of this situation in the first place? Even without the Thalia, I'm not sure what the answer is to that. That's just for Taiga and then Expedition map. Jordy kinda doing the math on what he might be able to do in this situation. Not a concession yet, so Tabernacle. That's whew, that's a good one. Just no more lands. Now your mana dorks are going to have to pay for themselves, essentially. And I do believe Jordy is also holding a Maze of Ith, which could potentially still buy him a turn or two. But he needs to be careful. This is a very tight position to be in. Very tight. Valakut Exploration is coming down. Good call. Yeah, if Jordy is gonna find a way to come back from this, he needs to actually set up something of a win, and Valakut Exploration right now looks to be the way to go, so good read, good read. Doesn't need mana for anything else, anyway. Oh wait, yeah, no, he has Thalia, I can't even play it. That's unfortunate. Oh, he is still in a very good position here, and Alex really needs to think about how he is going to play this. That Maze of Ith means that Alex would have to keep at least 2 creatures to keep attacking. And Tabernacle means that if he wants to attack with at least one creature this turn, that's gonna cost him some dorks. Is going to keep 2 hierarchs, and the questing beast decides not to attack at this point. Oh! Yeah, sorry about that. Questing beast has a lot of text. Questing beast makes it so combat damage can be prevented, so the Maze of Ith doesn't actually save Jordy here. And with the Noble Hierarchs on the field, he has enough damage and is able to kill Jordy here. Game 1. People like to joke about Wizards of the Coast printing like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Questing Beast essentially has 6 lines of text. Like it is one of the most Yu-Gi-Oh cards in Magic. In my opinion, at least. But yeah, even though 3 of the 6 abilities on Questing Beast are keyword abilities, it still has 6 abilities. That's a lot. Like that thing has a lot of text on it. But yeah, game 2 we have Alex on the mulligan to 6. Jordy keeping 7. And as for sideboards, good question, actually. As we see Punishing Fire hit the Burst of Paradise. Punishing Fire probably not a sideboard card, but a good card nonetheless. I'm actually not sure what either of these decks would want to bring in. Nothing really screams at me. Like maybe another Endurance? And one actually goes for both players. I could definitely see that. In Alex's case, you could bring in Endurance to once again just start tackling some of the graveyard stuff that Jordy is doing. In Jordy's case, just having a 3/4 body could be pretty decent. Other than that, nothing really all too exciting. Not sure if maybe Alex or Jordy are playing some other removal in the side that they could bring in. Like sometimes Maverick plays like extra copies of Swords to Plowshares, or maybe a couple Path to Exile in the side. These days, the deck's also plays Prismatic Ending. I believe those are usually in the main, so not sure. Also, Prismatic Ending not as good against a potential Merit Lage, but still not the worst removal spell in the deck, for sure, for sure. Wasteland from Alex. Gonna try and take care of the Tabernacle here. Crop rotation being cast off the Tabernacle thanks to the Yavimaya of Alex here. Let's see, Yavimaya is pretty good deck. Pretty good card for both of these decks, but it is always a consideration that it is a symmetrical effect. And we like to joke that symmetrical effects are always fair. Well, in this case, I would argue it is, absolutely. But the question is Jordy going to try and maybe go for a quick Merit Lage? No, is gonna go for Wasteland. Gonna try and make Alex stumble a bit here. We're already firing on the bird. Or just getting a growth, that works too. Really not looking too sure about these particular plays, but I think... Yeah, I think the growth is probably gonna be better in the long run. Could have maybe tried and gone for a dark depths kill here. Probably not the worst. After all, Alex did already use one of his wastelands. Granted, it's very greedy to try and go for it, but you know, I also have no idea what else Jordy has going right now, so if he has a longer game, I could definitely see trying to just keep things going for now, because of course Punishing Fire is a very good card against a very creature-heavy deck like Maverick. Ooh, Endurance being flashed in with the Punishing Fire trigger on the stack. That is very bad for Jordy here. That is potentially very dangerous. Yeah, Jordy in a bit of a tough spot here. Life from the Loam looks to be the draw for the turn. I think I see a Ghost Quarter, Lightning Bolt, and an Engineered Explosives. Ghost Quarter is maybe why he was considering Wasteland. Just try and shut down some of this mana. Oh wait, that's 16. 3/4, not a 4/4. Yeah, now without the Punishing Fire, not going to be able to get rid of the Endurance. A 3/4 unfortunately does not die to a singular Lightning Bolt. Mother of Runes probably does, as does Scavenging Ooze. Given that there is a Life from the Loam in Jordy's hand, we could see Lightning Bolt going to Scavenging Ooze. It's not ideal. Not ideal at all, but neither is the position Jordy is in, so I'm going to bolt the Endurance. Ah, it was a Kozilex's return for Jordy here. Did not see that one. Let's see. We're just gonna cleanly mop up what Alex is going here. And then draws into Exploration for the turn, it looks like. Ghost Quarter. Gonna take out one of Alex's lands. And then Life from the Loam. Gonna try and do it all over again. I think he already still has his second land drop off the Exploration. Oh yeah, actually, he hasn't played any of his lands yet. Ghost Quarter was already on the field from last turn. So that is land drop 1. Last card, I remember correctly, it was Engineered Explosives. Was Warner gonna take care of the Yavi Mayan? Looks like Alex has some more basics to go. Now we move back to Alex, who doesn't really have anything going on anymore after that Alex's return. Would really love to draw some pressure. A Jitte, a Green Sun Zenith, and what is that third card? Not quite sure. I think it's a Force of Vigor. It looks like a Force of Vigor. Which wouldn't be the best card here. Now the Green Sun Zenith, it's not the worst. Green Sun Zenith coming out for 2 here. So what do you end up getting in this situation? Because you're a little short for a Knight of the Reliquary, or a little short for a Knight of Autumn. Is going to end up finding a Noble Hierarch. It's not great. Not great. Not able to play both Green Sun Zenith and the Jitte anyway. Jordy now finding Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, and a Rishadan Port. That is a good loam, for sure. Sure. Thankfully, Alex did have the opportunity to get a Noble Hierarch, but still, this is not fantastic. Looks like out of basics as well. But this Ghost Quarter potentially gonna do a lot of damage. Noble Hierarch coming in for 2. And a Dredge left from them again. Only a Bajuga Bog this time. Which it's not the worst. Bog is definitely a card that is effective against Alex. If he could at any point get either another Scavenging Ooze or a Knight of the Reliquary going. That Bog would make short work of any threat that especially a Knight of the Reliquary would pose here. Engineered Explosives coming down on 1 is gonna get cracked, and I think that is game. Yeah, that is game. Alright. Jordy gonna take game 2. And let's see what we have in store for game 3. And Alex, after starting 2 games on a mulligan to 6, is now starting on a mulligan to 5. That's unfortunate, but it happens. That is magic right there. I'm gonna start with a Heath Go. Not the most exciting start. And Jordy starts Taiga Go. Also not most exciting start. So maybe there is still a game of Magic in this. We'll see. Let's see, Mother of Runes. I'm guessing was the draw for the turn. It's gonna get bolted during Alex's end step. Jordy playing a Thespian stage. Mox Diamond. Going to discard another Thespian stage and gonna pass. So looks like a very unexciting 7 for Jordy here. Endurance coming down. I did mention that Jordy might consider bringing in Endurance. That one. And looks like he does in fact have it. Like he's shuffling his own graveyard here. Worth mentioning, you don't have to shuffle your graveyard. Then again, he could have also targeted Alex's graveyard, I guess. Not sure. It probably isn't going to matter. I mean, actually, if Jordy ends up shuffling, he might draw his Lightning Bolt again, so it's not the worst. Force of Vigor coming down is going to take care of the Valakut Exploration and the Mox Diamond. Jordy fetching a Tiger in response is going to try and get some value out of this exploration before it gets destroyed. Sure, if the exploration actually still does the damage if it's not on the field anymore. Because if wait, I'm gonna have to look up Valakut Exploration. Oh, that's fascinating. So because Valakut Exploration got destroyed, the trigger to put them back in the graveyard doesn't activate, which means they are exiled. And you can still play them. The card says you may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. So you can actually still play the Ghost Quarter and the Punishing Fire for, well, as long as they're in exile. That's... wow, that is a relevant bit of text. Good lord. So, just destroying Valakut Exploration just doesn't work. I mean, it works for future land drops, but you still get the cards. You actually keep the cards this time. They don't go to the graveyard. Wow. That's insane. I mean, I was talking about how good Valakut Exploration was in this deck before, but... sure, might as well add that as well. Just the perfect card. Like, the only way it could have been better if it was like a 2020 Indestructible, which, by all accounts, in a deck like Lance, you know, it might as well be. Wow, that's crazy. And Alex fetching the 6. Needs an answer for the Endurance, or this is game. Script Ranger getting put into play. I actually kind of missed if this was. This is during Jordy's turn or Alex's turn. I'm not sure. Not even sure if it actually matters at this point. The punishing fire is going to take care of it. Okay, yeah, it was during the end of Jordy's turn. Not a land. Down to 5. And I feel like at this point we might just be delaying the inevitable. But, man, with Alex, you never know. Like, he's one of those players that just finds a way. If the out exists, he'll find it, for sure. 3 mana... Not 3 mana... Survey says... Knight of the Reliquary coming down. Looks like Alex has 3 lands in his graveyard, so that is a 5/5 Knight. Good blocker right now, but Punishing Fire could potentially help Jordy get rid of it. Picking up some sagas here. Looks like Jordy does not have a removal spell for the Knight. Gonna attack. I think if you're Alex, you... Yeah, Alex considering, like, if he blocks, the Knight dies to bolt. If he doesn't block, he dies to bolt. So... Or Punishing Fire. Or... Whatever. So I think this means Alex is forced to block here. But doesn't. Expedition map coming down. Now I didn't do the math, but I think that is enough to pick up the Punishing Fire and play it as well. Yeah. Gonna find Grove of the Burn Willows off the Expedition map. Gonna try and pick up the Punishing Fire, and if he's successful, that is going to be game. No, it isn't going to be game. The Grove gives him 2 life. No, not 2 life, 1 life. So he should be at 1 then. If he fires it. Okay, so he's not technically dead on board. But, boy, that's a rough spot. I mean, it was a mulligan to 5 after all, so... At some point you just kind of keep whatever is playable. And looks like Alex has had enough. I believe time in the round was also call. So Alex decides not to draw this out any further, and it is going to be 2-1 for Mr. Netherlands Jordy.